Mm-mm. It seems like every time, every Monday I start my show, someone has made the transition. For those of you who don't know who Glenn O'Neill is, Glenn sang with the group Public Announcement, not the group where R. Kelly was in, but the one with Felony Davis and Ace Watkins, that group. Well, Glenn was only 55 years old and lost his battle with cancer. And we'll play some public announcement music later on, along with music from Fel Davis. And cuz I'm going to miss you, man. I'm going to miss you. He sent me some of his music, and of course, we played it here on WOSD radio. So, with that in mind, coming up in our last hour, we do a thing we call foreplay, 4 songs by one of your favorite artists or groups, male or female. And also, coming up throughout the night, we do a thing called Who Did It Best? All right. All right. So, with that in mind, welcome to Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. With your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. And I still believe there's still such a thing called love. Here's Gladys and the Pips. Deron, Russell, what's going on? Shake and bake. I thank you all for being on my live. I really do. As always. Hmm. I was watching something on Facebook tonight on Denise Williams. Sweet little cuddly Denise Williams. And I posted it on my Facebook page. It's called Denise Williams Diva Stories. And it reads, Dear Diary, why do I curse so much? Once in a while, in everyday life, you go on stage and you might catch me slipping up, being naughty, but it's not on purpose. God is still and forever working on me. It's on my Facebook page. When you see it, you're going to crack up because you don't expect her to talk like that. You know, my question is, when did she do that? Because when I saw her, which was in Gary this past summer, she didn't look like that. You know, she's a slightly larger Denise Williams, and was in town. I think it was Valentine's Day. Her and the Whispers were at the Hard Rock Casino. So, but I just thought it was hilarious. Hello to Deron Williams and once again Russell Baker, Shake and Bake. Thank you, buddy, for being on my live. Come on, computer, catch up. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Excuse me. I drink some water, Al. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with my computer tonight. It's doing its thing. I'm not going to reboot it. It's going to do its thing. I'll tell you. Gladys Knight and the Pips, 2 in a row. The Makings of You and There's Still Such a Thing Called Love. And I believe it. I believe it. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories. Hello to Deron Williams and also to Russell Baker, a.k.a. Shake and Bake. Thank you for being on my live. And of course, as always, donations are welcome via Zelle at alpeer@gmail.com. That's Al Paul, Greer, at gmail.com. Let's make that perfectly clear. Perfectly clear. All right. All right. Fellas, beware of scammers. What do I mean? Beware of young ladies who have Facebook pages or otherwise. Facebook, Snapchat, all of them. What's the other one? Instagram. They are not what you think they are. You know, they look so sweet, and it's like, oh, look at her. Oh, let me send her a friend request. Then they hit you up, right? To see me naked, send me $50. Pictures are $100. If you want a live one-on-one, that's what, $25, $30. I'm like, really? Is that how we're dating these days? Oh, that's so sad. Anyway, I still believe in just going and meeting somebody somewhere and starting a relationship. It's Whitney Houston. I believe in you and me. But that's a fortune cookie. Fortune cookie. Excuse me for wiping my nose on camera, but it's like when you go to the Chinese food restaurant, they used to give you fortune cookies. They just throw them in there. Cost them nothing, right? You know, my thing is, where are they these days? I went to Whole Toy on Stony Island. They moved across the street from where they were to back where they were before, if that makes any sense. And I have not seen not one fortune cookie. You know, y'all got to get on your jobs. You know, now back to what I was talking about before. Beware, fellas. You know, they look so nice and sweet and everything else. And they hit you up with a bill just to talk to them, just to see them disrobe on your phone, your tablet, or your PC. I no, thank you. Mm-mm. That might be nice for some people, not me. Not me. Mm-mm. I'm not paying to see nobody's booty. Mm-mm. I'm just not. I pass on the ass.
All of your favorite slow jams from back in the day with Greer on Bedtime Stories.
Henry Cooper, good evening, sir. Welcome to the new and improved Bedtime Stories chat room. My egg roll is cold. Not cold, but not hot. And me. Ah, good God. Once again, beware of scammers. They can suck you in. So, who do you think did it best? That, of course, the original from the Four Tops. I believe in you and me. Actually, that's Levi Stubbs. I remember seeing a video where he was performing. He was in the audience at a Four Tops concert, and I think it was with Aretha Franklin. And she said, "Come on up here, Levi." Levi at that point was in a wheelchair and unable to stand. And he sang that song, boy, like it was his last performance, and it was. After that, he passed on. Not that night, but yeah, he passed on several months, I think, after performing. But he sang that song with a tear in his eye, and Aretha said, "It's okay, baby, it's okay," because he knew he was on his way out of here. Four Tops featuring Levi Stubbs. And one thing I got to say about Levi Stubbs, he never left the group. He sang on every hit that they had, but he never left the group. You know how most of the Motown lead singers would go solo, Diana Ross, David Ruffin, Eddie Kendricks, all of them would go solo, but he stayed with the group until his demise. It's Rocky Robbins. It's the theme tonight. I believe in love. I know, right? Most of the songs would, would be in a higher key, where it was almost to the point where Levi Stubbs was, you know, almost screaming or preaching like a Baptist preacher. And that was the effect that they wanted on those songs. You know, it made him sing harder. Like if you hear the songs Bernadette and Reach Out, he's almost straining to hit those notes. You know, yep. That's one of the reasons why Marvin didn't want to work with Norman Whitfield. Norman Whitfield made him sing, you know, Stubborn Kind of Fella. And you can hear Marvin straining on those songs. It was a hit, but Marvin said, "I'll never work with him again." Norman Whitfield would go on to work with the Temptations. There was a contest to see who could get a hit on the Temptations between Smokey and Norman Whitfield. Smokey liked to write those sing-songy type, songs because that had become their style. The way you do the things you do. Girl, why you want to make me? They would sing songy, but Norman Whitfield said, "I got a song for you. It ain't that weak stuff that Smokey writes." Like, excuse me. So he gave them "Ain't Too Proud to Beg" and said, "Ruff, we want you to knock this one out." So he gave Ain't Too Proud to Beg to David Ruffin. I said, let's see what you can do with this. Eddie was offended. You know, he was totally offended because up until then, David and Eddie were the lead singers of the group. Norman Whitfield came along and everybody sang lead. You know, Luther, Levi, Frankie, they all make you feel the words of a song. You're absolutely right. Yep. I heard a DJ say once, one of the greatest, he said, one of the greatest voices of our lifetime. I said, I have to agree. He was. And did you know that some record companies turned Luther down? They turned him down. I said, he can't sing. But he proved them wrong. He proved them dead wrong. And Luther went on to become one of the greatest singers of our lifetime because he was determined to show the other record companies that he could do it and on his own terms. Luther's first album was co-produced by an executive at CBS Records or Epic Records, same thing, which was Larkin Arnold. He found out Luther could do it himself, so Luther produced most of his own music. Unfortunately, didn't own it. That's another story. If you don't own the masters, then the master owns you. Well, the master being CBS Records, whom at the time was run by Clive Davis. Need I say more? So Luther wouldn't play the game. He kept cranking out hits, but he wouldn't play the game. Next thing you know, old Luther had a stroke. Yep. And the thing was, Clive wasn't going to promote him. He was going to promote Whitney. He was going to promote Aretha Franklin. And that's what he did. Excuse me. Those were, his, I hate to say it, his cash cows, especially Whitney. Whitney exceeded his expectations. He said, "We're not gonna sing no soul music because you're gonna be the pop princess." And one thing led to another, and she became the pop princess. But Aretha was still the queen. Luther and Make Me a Believer here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Deron Williams said, Luther, you could feel a song when he sang it. You certainly could. Luther had a point to prove because so many of the record companies had turned him down. So he was determined when he got signed that he wasn't going to look back, and he didn't. Luther Vandross, one of the greatest voices of our lifetime, here on Bedtime Stories. Once Luther got a hold of your song, that was pretty much it. He made it his own. And he proved it with this song from his debut album on Epic Records. This is A House Is Not a Home, here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Luther, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Once again, fellas, beware of the dating sites. They're not really dating sites. I looked at them and I was like, it's nobody that I want to be with. Nobody. So that's it. I'd rather stay single than to go on some of these dating sites with these, sex crazed women. And they think that because we're men that we're going to fall for it. They think that we're going to fall for it. And some of us do. It is what it is. Is my clock on? It sure is. It's not doing its thing though. There we go. Wanted to change colors. Ah, but once again, people, beware. You know, I mean, don't listen to me. See for yourself. That's right. See for yourself. You'll be like, wait a minute, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And they advertise on Facebook, you know, like, want to talk to me tonight? You know, download, was it Bigo, and talk to women tonight. Like, oh, okay. And it's no different than Snapchat. You know, one person starts a conversation and you just join in with them, and that's it. But trust and believe there are other hungry, I almost said hungry ninjas. That's what I cleaned it up there. Who are trying to talk to the same woman, and that's it. I'm like, I am not that desperate. I will pass. Yeah, I will pass on that. No, thank you. Watching reruns of Sanford and Son. Fred's holding a bottle of Ripple. Whatever happened to Ripple? Do they still sell that in the stores? You know, Ripple, Wild Irish Rose, Thunderbird, Kanai, all of those sweet wines back in the day, which were all geared to females. You know, I remember GCI running a commercial, GCI and VON, super fine Kanai wine. Yes, you can anytime. Like what? Yes, you can. What anytime? What? Have a drink because it's only what, maybe 5 or 7% alcohol in it. So yeah, you could drink it as much as you want to and just get a buzz.
Put on your PJs. It's time for bedtime stories with Al Greer.
Mm. Thunderbird, or of course, you know, what is that? Seagram's gin, and you pour some pour some Kool Aid in it. Packet of Kool Aid. What did they call that? Henry. Henry knows. Alrighty then. Okay. Yeah, not interested. I mean, it's good when you're like bored. Oh, she's playing some real music there. I like that. That's what's up. Looking for some real music played by real musicians, you know? I'm back. Antenna TV. Well dressed Eska something Dwarf. Thank you for being on my live, whatever your name is, on the Twitch side. I don't know. I remember hearing that song one night. I was still at my parents' house, and my brother had this great stereo system, or at least what he thought was a great stereo system. And I was listening to that song, and it was in, he had like a surround sound type system. And that song hit different listening to, the instrumentation. You could hear the strings, you could hear everything, you know. Luther sang the hell out of that song, originally done by the Temptations. Since I Lost My Baby, he just drug it out. I was like, wow. And I just sat there and I listened to it and I just was emotional. It just did something to me. Luther Vandross, one of the greatest voices of our lifetime, Since I Lost My Baby, written by Warren Pete Moore and William Smokey Robinson on Bedtime Stories. It is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Speaking of those guys, they originally wrote all the hits for the Temptations. But this song, I'm not sure who the writer is. I believe it's Holland Dozier Holland. They did an album called Back to the Basics, and this song was on there, and it just kind of got to me. It's Ron Tyson on the lead. It's called Make Me Believe in Love Again. The Temptations are on Bedtime Stories. Boo, 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 boo.
I think it was Janelle. Janae, that's her name.
Interesting. So they don't even look like their profile pictures. Like, why do you keep looking at them, Al? Just curious. That's all. Just curious. Okay. Yeah, I'll look at that right before I go to bed, so I can laugh myself to sleep. CW, thank you so much. I ended up working on Valentine's Day, which is why I couldn't sneak into the comedy jam. But keep me, you know, abreast of any other promotions that you have. Like I said, leave the back door open and I'll slide on through. Which is what happened to me for the players ball. I text my uncle, Sam Chapman, and I said, come around the back door and let me in. Of course, he never got that message. At least he didn't get it that night. So I ended up getting in there anyway, thanks to Theo Huff. Theo said, here's the money, pay to get in. So I was determined that I was not going to pay, whether it was with my money or his money or anybody else's. So my my niece and I, or my daughter, we got in anyway. So I forgot what I said that night, but I said we're here with Sam Chapman. He's my uncle. This is his godchild. That's it. And we walked on through. Me with my red suit on. So, man, I had a decent time for Thanksgiving. Good Lord, I had a decent Valentine's Day. I was like, yeah, I was hoping that I would have a date for New Year's Eve. Good Lord, I'm just mixing them all up. I was hoping that I would have a date for Valentine's Day, but it didn't work out at all. Good Lord. Okay, where's the soy sauce? I guess I don't need it, huh? 'Cause I can't find it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. We go back like four flats on the Cadillac. I remember when we had JPC and you said, "I'm mad I can't come in tonight." And there was no one to do your show, which meant I had to do your show. And it was like, I was the program director at the time. So I was there from like 9 o'clock to midnight. Some nights I wouldn't even go home. I would just sleep in my office. Yep. I'm like, what's the use of going home? And I got to come back here in a few hours. So, talk about putting some mileage on my car. Mm-hmm. 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 Mother's Finest featuring Joyce Kennedy and I Can't Believe. Right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. A few years ago, Phil Perry did an album of songs that had been out, I guess classic R&B. And one of those songs that kind of stood out on the album to me was his remake of Hello by Lionel Richie. And I think you'll agree, this was probably one of the greatest remakes that I'd ever heard. I mean, after all, Phil Perry can do no wrong. This is his version of Hello on Bedtime Stories. C Dub. I couldn't find my chopsticks. I was going to show off. Mm-mm. I love you, baby. Ooh, I'm back. Mm. Morning.
Back in, so I wrote this song. I'm like, whoa, that's the ultimate comeback. Oh, baby, I messed up, so I'm gonna write a song about you. All right, but I'll catch up with you guys later. Don't forget to tune in to Sugar D with Jazz, Smooth Jazz, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Keep it locked on the Bigs Radio Network. Peace out.
Phil Perry and hello. Right here on Bedtime Stories on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WCHI Biggs Radio Chicago, WRLN Radio, a Ray Neal media station, WBOE, the best of everything, owned by Reggie Miles, and of course, My Jam Radio, owned by Mike Breezy. That's his new name, Mike Breezy. Kind of cool. I like that. CW, thank you for being on my Facebook Live. I appreciate you, brother. We're definitely going to hook up soon. All right. All right. Biggs and the entire Biggs Radio Chicago team at the VFW Post 360, 1307 East Jefferson Boulevard in Mishawaka, Indiana. It's $20 in advance, $25 at the door. Special guest performances, cash bar at 8 p.m. For vendor, artist, sponsorship, or banner submissions, please contact Biggs Radio, 773-462-4447. Just keep listening to Biggs Radio Chicago. This is not a contest. It's for opportunities. The only problem is Facebook will cut me off because they say I don't own the rights to the music. So that's what happened. At the VFW Post 360, 1307 East Jefferson Boulevard in Michigan. You notice some of the commercials have like generic music behind them. That way I can play them. WOSDRadio.com, Darrow Break Productions, and the Salvation Army. This is the lost generation. The same group that brought you hits. Now this is their song, so they can't cut me off for that. People make the world go round. Is the latest release available? So that's what happens. If an artist sends me their song to play, then Facebook won't cut me off. Also, makes sense, right? Facebook and other social sites for more information and great music. If you're into Southern Soul, then you gotta listen to this one. Born Thomas Melvin, but better known as the Mailman, and his new hit, Thank You. From the bottom of my heart, baby, I just wanna say thank you. He puts the soul. Well, I can play that song because they sent it to me, so I have permission to play it on the commercial. Thank you. Available on all download platforms and heard exclusively on WOSDRadio.com. The Mailman, he always delivers. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Hello to everybody at Biggs Radio. Thank you so much for the support, including, or especially, I should say, Dinah Lynn Biggs, my 50-year friend. She was playing a song as she was going off the air, and I didn't want to not play it because it's true. I heard the story. Well, we were both there at the time when we heard the story about this song. It was written by a gentleman who was trying to get his girlfriend back, and he was heartbroken. So he put all of his heart into this song. And I can feel it, brother. I can feel it. Written by Paul Richmond for Yolanda K. Richmond. This is AWB, APB. He's going to kick my butt. Amusement park band who used to play with Tyrone Davis at one time. It's simply called No, right here on Bedtime Stories. Yep. We used to, when Facebook came out with the live feature, it was only to talk to people and not to play music. So therefore, we couldn't play any music. Because what happened was the record companies were pissed because we were playing the music on Facebook and they weren't getting their royalties. So that's what had happened. So yeah. So even though we're a radio station, they won't let us play the music. I'm like, okay. Plus, you won't be able to hear me if I'm talking over the music. So all of those things, combined. So yeah. Pat Westbrook, when I was growing up, people rarely died. Now it's out of control, especially among young people. Glad you didn't get that booster. Me too. I got the first one and I think the second one, and that was it. They said, "Oh, we got a booster." I'm like, "Nah, I'll pass. I'll take my chances." But I know a lot of people got pneumonia behind taking the boosters and everything else. So I was like, wow. I remember when COVID came out, it took out almost the whole church. Um, Bishop Lucius Hall, it took out his almost his entire congregation. I was like, wow. I mean, just scary. Take out a whole church? Mm, a whole church, including the pastor of the church. I was like, wow. Oh no. It seemed like every time my phone would ring, somebody would say, "Hey, you remember so and so?" I'm like, "Remember them? Like what happened?" And they passed. You know, COVID was taking out everybody. Yep, it's kind of tapered off now. You know, yeah, that was scary. You know, like I said, every time the phone would ring, it's like, "Hey, you remember?" I'm like, "Remember?" Just talk to him. And all the then president would say was, once it gets warm, it'll go away. Drink bleach. I'm like, no, Ninja didn't say drink some bleach. Drink bleach? Mm-mm. I'm like, really? And I'm wondering how many people actually drank bleach because they thought it was going to help. But Yeah, after that, I went back to smoking weed. Honest to God, because it was around that time that it became legalized. So you know, I'm smoking weed because I'm paranoid because everybody's getting COVID. So I was like, okay, well, scary. Okay. He was born Tyrone Fenster, but Carl Davis gave him his last name, and he became Tyrone Davis. That is, ain't nothing I can do with a woman like you but love you. It is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Once again, hello to CW. Thank you for being on my live, as well as Pat Westbrook. We were both together at WJPC, which was owned by Johnson Publishing Company. Yeah. Yep. It is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. We're talking about COVID. When COVID hit back in 2020, I was so paranoid that I started back smoking weed. And Pat said COVID rates among weed smokers were very low. So I did right. That was my medication there. Plus, every time the phone would ring, somebody would be on the other end saying, "You remember so and so? Well, the COVID got them and they passed." I'm like, oh man. So I just knew I was next because, I was born with a respiratory condition. So I ended up, like I said, smoking weed. That was my medication. And actually, it worked. I'm still here. Here's another one from Tyrone Davis, written by Paul Richmond. This is In the Mood on Bedtime Stories. Love to you. Oh, mm, 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 mm. Mm. Gonna make you know. Yep. A joint a day kept the COVID away. The girl that I was living with, she got it, but I didn't. Yep. I guess COVID said, I don't want none of that weed, boy. Stay away. I think a whole lot of people started smoking weed that year. They put a they put a memo up at work saying that even though marijuana is legal, just don't come to work high. I'm like, don't come to work high. Okay. DJ Carl Dobbins. Yep. So just don't come to work high. Like, okay. And a lot of people did come to work high, but you didn't know that they were high. You know, some people could handle it, you know, like they have functioning alcoholics, you have functioning weed smokers. There was this one guy, I never will forget it. I was working at Kennedy King College, and he would come to work every Friday to do his show. And he reeked of marijuana. It was like he lit up when he got in the car. Yeah, yeah, it's legal here. I mean, he would be, he'd be blitzed, but he could do his show. He was, but back then it wasn't legal yet. So the assistant station manager came into my office and he asked me, he said, is so and so high? I said, I don't think he's high. I just think that his jacket reeks of marijuana. Unfortunately, he had to let him go. And that was it. I was like, wow. So, I mean, he was real good on the air. He was a real good student, but he couldn't be in there smoking, smelling like weed. And that was it. We had to let him go. Yep. What'd you say? Eye drops. Yep. His, I don't think he could have gotten any eye drops in his eyes. They were so tight. I'm like, dang, bro. Yeah, he couldn't have got any Visine in his eyes. They were just, you know, and that was it. And unfortunately, he had to be let go. It broke my heart because I had to, I had to snitch on him. But it was either my job or his. I was making $40,000 a year, and we had to let him go. He was good on the air. He was a good student. All of that. But I think if he had taken his jacket off and left it in the car, he would have been all right. So, So once again, unfortunately, we had to let we had to let Snoop go, and that was the end of it. I don't think I ever saw him again. I don't think he wanted to see me. That was it. That's two songs that have the same title, but are two different songs. In the Mood from the Whispers and In the Mood from Tyrone Davis, right here on Bedtime Stories. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Pat Westbrook wants to know, is Reverend Jackson the talk of the town? No, he isn't. He is the talk of the nation. He is the talk of the nation. And everybody is, you know, everybody's talking about it. You know, this is the most that I've ever seen the family together, meaning Jesse Jr., Santita, Yusuf, and Jonathan. And I think that's Jackie Jr. and Ashley. That's the most that I've seen them all together. You never see them all together on Saturday down at Push, but I guess they had to have a united front. You know, it's like, look, we may not get along, but our father has just passed, so we're going to have to put our differences to the side, at least until after he's buried. So I know the feeling. I don't get, I don't get along with family members either, but when something like that happens, you have to bond together, and somehow they did it and are still doing it. So rest in peace, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. Here's Johnny Taylor. I believe in you. They want to take it away. Ashley is a TV star. I heard. I heard. And it's like, hmm, like I said, they've been together for the past couple of weeks now. Well, last week was when he passed. So they have put on a what you call a united front. They must show unity. They may go their separate ways afterwards, but while they're together, they must appear to be together or unified. So That's it. So, yep, they have to look like they like each other, which I'm sure, I'm exaggerating, but I'm just saying. I know how hard that can be sometimes. I got to stand next to this joker and he or she doesn't like me. Because I was at Jonathan's birthday party, and for the most part, they were all there. But I think the only time they took a picture was when they were all on stage together, and that was it. And the rest of the night, they stayed away from each other. Talk about sibling rivalry. Both Santita and Jesse are on the air. They both have radio shows. Santita took over Dad's show, and then Jesse's got his own show, which is at KTLA. But if anything, this should bring them closer together, you would think. Yep. When and where was his party? Oh, it was at the what is that? That the ballroom that's on King Drive, and it was about a month ago. Yeah, it was about a month ago. Maurice Mahan performed with music by Farley Jackmaster Funk, the king of house. So I'm glad that I got to go. I was on the guest list and everything. I was like, ooh, I feel I feel important. Yeah, I felt important. I'm like, because a lot of political people there, that whole thing. And Jonathan, he had on a velvet or velour blazer, which was blue. I had on a whole suit, which was what was the color? Maroon, a maroon three-piece suit. He said, "How you gonna come to my party dressed better than me?" I'm like, This old thing, it was in the back of the closet, which was true. I said I would never wear that suit again. I said I would never wear that suit again. What's going on, Bishop? Once again, thank you for brunch, lunch, breakfast this afternoon. I really appreciate it. I got in my car and was it nice as your party? No, it was just fancy hoity-toity type thing. But anyway, nephew, I got in the car and I just I cried. I'm like, finally, somebody who has not judged me. You know, I tell my story to those who will listen, but the fact that you didn't judge me, I'm like, you know, I needed that. You know, I know the situation, but you know my heart, and that I mean no malice towards anyone. And I really appreciated that. And I hope it's not the last time. Rosie Gaines. Nothing compares to you. That is Prince, of course, on Bedtime Stories. With your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Once again, hello to Pat Westbrook. She wanted to know, was Congressman Jonathan Jackson's party as nice as mine? It was all right. It was just, a little hoity-toity for me. So, would you like some hors d'oeuvres? At my party, we just had chicken wings, and that was it. People were grabbing handfuls of chicken wings, but not at his party. They were like, "Would you like to try the Grey Poupon?" I'm like, oh, "Okay, all right." But anyway, hello to my nephew Desmond Battles, also known as Bishop Battles. Thank you for the brunch this afternoon. Thank you for the conversation. I needed to, I guess, vent to someone who would not judge me, and I really appreciate that. Like I said earlier off the air, I said I got in the car and I just hung my head down. I was like, he understands, he gets it, even though, I own up to my faults and shortcomings and everything else, but I didn't hear that today. I didn't hear, well, none of that. And I really appreciate it. And we need to do that once a week so I can clear out my mind for real. Here's Shantae Moore, first of two in a row. It's all right here on Bedtime Stories. Thank you, Desmond. Anyway, yep, I thank you. Sometimes you have to get stuff off your chest without someone saying, well, you know your situation. Yeah, I know my situation. But the situation is the heart wants what the heart wants. So I felt like I could speak freely to my nephew, and that was it. You know, I think because he's been around so many wise people that he was able to, set everything to the side and not, like I said, not judge me. It's like everybody I talk to, they're like, you know, they bring up the M word. And my thing is, you know, it's a legal separation. You know, I have not been over her house since. I think one night I spent the night because the lights went out in my house. So that was one night out of 10 years that I'd spent the night. And I had to sleep on the couch. So I was like, okay. So I slept on the couch. And I had no problem. So I slept on the couch in what used to be my house. And that was it. I had a good night's sleep. No, I didn't. I remember I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep because there was a person in the other room that I wanted to lay next to. And I wanted them to tell me that it was going to be all right and that, you know, but that never happened. So I believe neither one of us got any sleep that night. So I think I may have gotten 2 hours of sleep because finally I my body gave out. I gave out and went to sleep for about maybe 2.5 hours, and that has been my sleeping pattern ever since. That has been my sleep pattern. So there's a song by the Spinners that was never released. It said, "Oh Lord, I wish I could sleep." A lot of times I lay there and I wake up like I might sleep for about a half an hour and I wake up. Then I might sleep again for another 45 minutes and then I wake up. You know, I try to stay up so that I can sleep throughout the night. It it never works. And when I do go to sleep, it's like you know, can't sleep the whole night. You know, my body, I don't know what it is. I can't rest. And when I do get to sleep, I dream about her. So I can't sleep. So crazy sleep pattern. Just can't sleep. Are you a day sleeper? Pat, I could sleep all day. I can sleep all day. But when I lay down at night, it's like I can't. I just can't do it. My body will not let me rest at night. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Two in a row from Shantae Moore. That is Candlelight and You. Right here on Bedtime Stories. Just ahead of foreplay in about 11 minutes with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Pat Westbrook wants to know, am I a day sleeper? Yes, I am. I don't get up until noon, sometimes 1 o'clock, because I don't. Sometimes I don't want to face the day, so I sleep. You know, so there you go. And when I do go to sleep, it's like I have these weird dreams, all the time. It's like sometimes I wake up and like, "Ooh, that was a good dream," and sometimes It's a nightmare. Kind of like this song. It's a nightmare. Not the song itself, but what he sings about in the song. My good friend Lenny Williams and 'Cause I Love You on Bedtime Stories. Mm-mm-mm. Richard did not sleep a lot. No, he didn't. As a matter of fact, he would be at GCI around the time I was on the air. That was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And he would come down the station with his pajama top on and probably his pajama bottoms under his pants. That was Richard. He did not sleep. I did not realize that Richard was only 64 when he passed. But I guess from years of not sleeping, his body was a lot older than it really was. I'm like, wow. Because I read his obituary, and I was like, wow, Richard was not that old. So there you go. Yeah, I don't think he slept at all. I guess he felt if he slept, he would miss something. You know, I don't know about you, but I always dream about Richard. He's almost in every dream. I just wish he were around now. You know, I just wish he were around. Mm. Yep, I miss him. Richard was the man. Oh, excuse me. Now I'm getting sleepy. Yeah, okay. Well, watch when I go to bed. I'm not going to sleep. Yeah. But yeah, I could sleep all day and be up all night. Yep, that's me. He didn't drink or smoke. Nope. That is Tower of Power, which features Lenny Williams. Yeah, back then he was begging. That's Willing to Learn here on Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time here on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WCHI Biggs Radio Chicago, WRLN Radio, a Ray Neal media station, WBOE, the best of everything, owned by Reggie Miles, and of course, Mike Breezy's My Jam Radio. Foreplay is next. Makeup. I'm gonna leave. Celebrating 50 years of music. Saturday, March 21st at the Gorton Center, 400 East Illinois Road in Lake Forest, Illinois, with special guests Ivory Ford, Ma Ray, Quiana Jones, and many more. Limited VIP tickets available at the box office or online at www.gortoncenter.org. It's Lonnie G, celebrating 50 years of music, Saturday, March 21st at the Gorton Center, 400 East Illinois Road in Lake Forest, Illinois. Doors open at 6 p.m. Showtime at 7 p.m. It's Lonnie G. Sponsored by Striving and Surviving Cancer Foundation. Standing on the shoulders of those who came before him, Marvin Gaye, Sam Cooke, Al Green, and others. His name, Slick J. Adams. His latest slow jam, Makeup Sex. Makeup Sex from Slick J. Adams, the new prince of R&B solo. Available on all download platforms and heard exclusively on WOSDRadio.com. Well, it's heard on other stations as well, but doesn't sound as good. It's time for foreplay. This gentleman hails from Paddington, London, England. He was born Seal Henry Osgun Yamite Ardiola Samuel. Yeah, but we just know him as Seal. He's a recipient of 3 Brit Awards, 4 Grammy Awards, an MTV Video Music Award, and with more than 20 million albums or singles sold. Yep. Known for songs like Killer and Crazy. And of course, one of my favorites from the Batman soundtrack, which at first didn't do anything until they released it on the soundtrack, and it came, it had their own video and everything else. Then it became a hit. Tonight we feature Seal for the first time inside Bedtime Stories Foreplay. This is A Kiss from a Rose. Seal Henry Samuel. Is that a slow song or what? Let me find out. Seal Killer.
Seal Killer.
And it's not going to stop. I'm sure I'll get flagged for that song. Okay. Roll up. Mm-hmm.
It's foreplay inside bedtime stories with Al Greer. You abandoned me, but don't live here anymore. Don't live here anymore. We lived inside of me. There's nothing I can see that you would do for me. Trouble seems inside of me. You changed that right away, baby. You abandoned me. You don't live here anymore. Just to make you see, you don't live here anymore. Just emptiness and memories of what we had before.
You abandoned me. Never saw him take a drink.
For a small business, way too much is standing between you and taking care of your people. Today, over 900.
You're in the middle of Four Facts with Al Greer on Bedtime.
3. Hmm.
Don't play with him. Wait, what you do? Come on, man. Don't make me spit. Don't make him, Mike. Don't make him. No woman. Don't.
Hmm. Hmm.
Elected control play with Greer on Bedtime. Oh, I missed Kimmel. Dang it.
Wrapping up foreplay on Seal. That is Touch right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Trying out some new headphones tonight. These are crystal clear, but no bass in them. Kind of miss my beats. I still have them over here, though. It is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This lady has been singing since she was 8 years old. Eight. Eight. She is known as the Empress of Soul. Here's Gladys Knight and the Pips. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Two in a row from Gladys Knight, as neither one of us wants to say goodbye. What was I going to say? What was I thinking about? I don't know. Anyway, it's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, and of course, the Pips right behind her. That was one of the last songs that they recorded for Motown Records. That was, of course, I guess you could say their exit song. And Barry Gordy said, "Oh, they'll never do anything." Yeah, right. Little did he know that they had a secret weapon waiting for her, for him rather, that she signed with Buddha Records. They had complete control over the music. They could pick the kind of music they wanted. They were out from under the, I guess you could say, the assembly line of Motown. And they did very well. That first song out of the gate was a hit, and that was Midnight Train to Georgia, which was originally a country song. Yeah, but Gladys put the soul in it. This guy is totally underrated. Used to listen to his songs back in the 70s and early 80s. He's from that talented family called the Laws family, Eloise, Deborah, and big brother Hubert. This is Ronnie Laws and Stay Awake on Bedtime Stories. Baby. Hey, musicians, we got something really important to say. I mean, this is huge. Go practice. Well, that's it.
Nighttime's just got better with the original Peanut Butter Brothers, we call Al Greer and Bedtime Stories on WOSCRadio.com.
There, jobs and growth, mental health care, a third airport, progress we share, standing strong for caregivers too. Oh, Jesse Jackson Jr., he's working for you. Enfermera, muestre su figura ante la cámara. Sí, como ordene. Perfecto, qué voluptuosa. Without naming your profession, what's something you say 100 times a day? If you're looking for a good. When the Beatles split.
Not only could he sing, he could play too. Once again, from the talented Laws family, that is Ronnie Laws. Stay still and let me love you, right here on Bedtime Stories. As we wind down on this Monday night, just a week after we lost the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr., it still doesn't seem like it's real. He was like Superman, but unfortunately, his kryptonite was the disease that took him out of here. But just know that we will always remember him for all times. They should name a street after him. He should have a holiday, everything that he deserves. Because, as I said in my promo, he was a beacon of light, not only to Chicago, but to the world. Rest in peace, Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. The Rev. This young lady used to play keyboards and sing background for Prince. This is Rosie Gaines and Crazy on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer.
Time for bedtime stories with Al.
Hi from Vancouver. I'm Maria Albanese.
And I'm Jorge Cortez. This is the first time Telemundo has ever covered the Winter Olympics. And we keep asking ourselves the same question. Why does anyone like the Winter Olympics? It is cold and the sports are silly.
It is a mystery to everyone here at Telemundo.
All these sports are on snow or ice. Why would they do this? These are bad, slippery surfaces.
Plus, all the sports are either very strange or something you would do if you wanted to kill yourself.
But as a proud member of the MBC Familia, we continue to broadcast this nonsense. Let's go live to our own Rosa Martinez at the ski jump.
Hola, Rosa! Where are you right now? I would say that I am in hell, but it is far too cold for that. So I must be at Whistler Mountain.
Rosa, what is your favorite memory of these games?
I would say the flight here, it was the last time I was born. Well, your outfit is very cute. Gracias for that, but I feel I am slightly underdressed. I have lost some fingers. Rosa, did you see any ski jumping? I did, and you're not going to believe this. Take a look at this clip.
It looks like he's doing fine.
Two in a row from the Stylistics. Could this be the end? And stop, look, and listen to your heart. That's it for me. Thank you so much for staying up with me as always. I really appreciate you guys. To my nephew, Desmond Battles, also to Stephanie Godchild, Daryl Coleman, Henry Cooper, C.W. Charles, Vanessa Sanders Church, Melvin, DJ Ice Haynes. Hope you're doing a lot better, sir. And of course, our usuals. Thank you so much, Deron Williams and Brother Russell Baker. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, blue skies, green lights, and peace. Good night, Pat Westbrook. And good night, all. Everybody. Everybody.